Preview edition of Pucks Across Borders on Total Apex Sports and Sports Addict Live, brought to you by the one, the only First Round Collectibles. What's your favorite sport? Hockey, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, boxing, whatever it is, I promise you they have it at firstroundcollectibles.com. And right now with our promo code Sports Addict, get 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. They have an ongoing sale up to 50% off dozens of cards. And with our promo code Sports Addict, not only do you get 10% off of regular priced items, but sales items as well. Do the math. 20 becomes 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 50, 60. You get the picture. So go over to firstroundcollectibles.com today. Use promo code Sports Addict for 10% off your order. Sports card, sales items, and regular priced items. That's the number one, STRoundCollectibles.com. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain. Not what you used to. It's all part of the game. Yeah, I just gotta go hard. I just gotta go hard. Go hard. Go hard. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And welcome to this Friday betting preview edition of Pucks Across Borders on Total Apex Sports, brought to you by, as always, our good friends at First Round Collectibles. Got a little cocky, Andre, with that ad read. I was feeling it. I was flowing. I was spitting fire, and I got myself tripped up. That's what happens. You know, you get cocky, get a little, too proud of yourself, too full of yourself, and you fall flat on your face. That happened to a couple teams last night. We can segue that beautifully. But first, we're going to get into everything from not everything, but into what we took away from last night. And of course, we get a little bit of a break. 11 games last night, 4 games on Wednesday, 9 games on Tuesday, only 3 games tonight. So we can settle in, watch some playoff baseball. I believe I know you don't want to talk about it, but I know your Yankees playing tonight.
We can talk about it.
They are, right?
They are playing tonight. They play at 8. I'm fine. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
We've moved on.
I mean, you're a Yankees fan. I'm a fan of neither of these teams. What a moment that was in Cleveland last night. Unbelievable. But listen, we got a lot to get to. It's a brand new day, bro. It's a brand new day.
100%.
It's a new 9 innings, fresh start. I believe in your guys. But first, before all of that, Andre, how are you feeling on a Friday, man? Good to see you.
It's good to see you. Light day today. Obviously, Sundays are usually light, busy Saturday. So hockey's going to have some action this weekend. It's not all playoff baseball and football. But I'm doing pretty well. Probably not as well as Mets fans after Pete Alonso's 3-run homer to open up the game. But what can I say? Another Rangers win that left me feeling pretty good yesterday, even with the dark cloud in Cleveland. But it happens.
Yeah, I mean, your Rangers. I didn't watch the game. You did. That's somewhere to get to. Like, Rangers, they look good. They got the 5-2 win, but the Red Wings, I don't know. Whenever I see a team beat the Red Wings, I'm more disappointed in the Red Wings than I am in the team that beat them. But let's go through the action from last night really quickly. We were dead wrong about the Kings Canadiens. Canadiens get out with the quick goal and lose 4-1. The Devils, not wrong about that. They beat the Senators 3-1. Markstrom was phenomenal in that game last night. I actually thought that Ottawa played a pretty good game. And Markstrom, that was the Markstrom game, 100%. The Golden Knights, terrific hockey game. Vegas loses to the Tampa Bay Lightning. Vegas had that game and gave it away late to Tampa Bay. The Canucks finally get their first win of the season, beating the Florida Panthers in overtime. Vancouver might be the team now that we bet tie on, because they've gone to overtime, 3 out of their 4 games, something like that. The Stars, talking about feeling cocky, I'm feeling good about this one. Washington beats Dallas 3-2. Sabres Blue Jackets. I have way more to say about this game than I thought I would. Teaser for my takeaway section, because the Columbus Blue Jackets beat the Buffalo Sabres 6-4. And Buffalo they were never really in this game. Just ridiculous. But anyway, we'll get into that in a minute. Rangers, as we talked about, beat the Red Wings 5-2. My St. Louis Blues win in overtime against the New York Islanders 1-0. Oilers beat the Predators 4-2. Quite frankly, Saros played a terrific game last night. 4-2 was closer than that game really was. And our Chicago Blackhawks beating the San Jose Sharks 4-2. Wrapping it up with Kraken 6-4 over the Flyers. Your Seattle Kraken. Andre, what is your takeaway? Lots of action last night. What's your takeaway from Thursday night in the NHL?
Well, this is my takeaway. This is my takeaway to the Blues, because I did pick them yesterday, and they did deliver for me as the plus money underdogs. So shout out to you, St. Louis. I've been harsh on you early in the season. I still expect nothing, but you came through. Maybe I'll ease up a little bit moving forward. My takeaway will be the team. I've seen the Rangers play twice now. The Red Wings. I'm very disappointed in the Red Wings, actually. I expected them to have a strong season. I expected them to do a lot of the things they did last year, omitting that losing streak, which was score goals at a torrid pace, do enough defensively, and do enough in net to get wins. Instead, they've looked awful. The only game they played well in, or I guess they won, was against Nashville, but we've seen what Nashville has done. They're pretty much in the same boat. And even in that game, Nashville outshot Detroit 42-22. They've been bad. The Red Wings have been bad. The PK has been horrid. They allowed 3 of 4 yesterday. I know the Rangers are a good power play. They allowed 1 and 2 against Pittsburgh. They allowed 1 of 5 in the Garden. Before that, it's not just a new thing last night. The PK has been struggling to start the year. And the power play, which has higher expectations, at least I would say so, has been even worse. They scored 1 yesterday. They scored 1 in the opener. They had 5 chances in both of those games. That's 2 for 10. Sandwiched the other 2 games, it's an 0 for 16. The power play this year, they are the 3rd worst PK in the NHL so far. Their special teams are a disaster, and they're not really doing anything well. They have 1 game to show for it where it's like, okay, maybe this team is good, but it's a game where they got thoroughly outplayed against a team that cannot pick up a point right now. So I'm very disappointed in the Red Wings, actually.
Well, it's funny you say that, because that segues very nicely into my takeaway. And it is in regards to the Buffalo Columbus game. And I'll get into kind of the specifics of that in a minute. But, you know, you look at the Red Wings, and again, we said this early, small sample size. We said this yesterday, small sample size. It's early, blah, blah, blah. But just at the Eastern Conference, I'm not going to look at the West. We'll deal with that on another day. But let's just look at the Eastern Conference really quickly, all right? In the Met, you have, and I know it's like the Devils have played 7 games, but everybody else has played 4 games, 5 games, 3 games. Carolina's only played 2 games, so there's not a lot to really take away from here. But just for the sake of the exercise, okay? The Devils, Rangers, Pittsburgh, Washington. That's your top 4 teams in the Met right now. Pittsburgh missed the playoffs. The Devils missed the playoffs, and Washington got in on the last day of the season. Okay. Then you have Columbus, Islanders, Philly, Carolina. Islanders got in last year. Columbus obviously last in the conference. Philly, and we know about Carolina. I know it's early, but we're already seeing at least a mixture, right? We tend to get in the NHL the same kind of teams every single year in the playoffs. And through a week and a half, we're seeing Pittsburgh be competitive. We're seeing Washington be competitive. We're seeing the Blue Jackets 2-2-0, but they're scoring a bunch of goals, man. Like, they're not just, sneaking these games out. They're like playing for keeps out there. Islanders, Philly, Carolina. I'm pretty down on Carolina this year, but they've only played 2 games, so you can't really take too much away from that. My point is, in the Met, we're seeing this mixture. Not all the big boys at the top. It's a bit of a mixed bag. In the Atlantic, Buffalo, Ottawa, Detroit. Every year, those 3 teams, this is supposed to be their year to take a step. It's supposed to be their year to break into the playoffs and to get out of the rebuilding phase and blah, blah, blah. Well, through 4 to 6 games, depending who you are, it's literally the exact same. You have Florida, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Boston, your top 4. Ottawa, Montreal, Buffalo, Detroit. Buffalo and Detroit being the bottom 2 of those bottom 4. And the more that I watch these teams, the more that I think about it, and listen, Tampa Bay, they've looked really good so far. Vasilevsky looks like a new man out there. I know last night, a little bit shaky, but that's a really good Vegas team. Is the Atlantic just going to be the exact same? Like, is the Atlantic just going to be the Leafs, the Bruins, the Panthers, the Lightning, and everybody else is going to miss the playoffs and no one's going to talk about them past February? I know it's only 2 weeks into the season, but I think so, man. And then that leads me finally to Buffalo. What are we watching? What is happening in Buffalo? 1-4-1 to start the season. I don't even remember who they beat. What was that win? I didn't even remember that they won a game. Like, it's awful. The goaltending is awful. I know Levi was in last night, but like, they're scoring some goals, I suppose, but like, they're again early, blah blah blah. They're over. It's done. They're over. They're not making the playoffs. They suck. And I can't believe we're watching this every night. And again, no disrespect to Columbus, but you just don't let Columbus put 6 on you. And if you do, you score 7. That's how this is supposed to work if you're a playoff team. I just don't get it, man. I don't get it. And every year it's the same. Ottawa, Detroit, I don't know. That's a conversation for another day. Who's the most disappointing so far between those 3? I'd probably say Buffalo, but Detroit's a close second. I don't know. It just drives me nuts. Like, they were never in that game last night. That was Columbus from start to finish. Don't care they made it 3-2. It doesn't matter. That game was Columbus, and I'm done. I can't believe that I spent $20 on this team to make the playoffs last year. I can't believe it. I don't know.
It's kind of crazy, actually, in hindsight. Yeah. It's funny because their only win was a pretty convincing 5-2 win over the Panthers. Vividly remember that.
Right.
Both took the Panthers. That line was like -130 or something. We're like, what is this?
That's right. Yeah.
The same team? Well, apparently Vegas knew something that night. Just looking at the Sabres, though, worst goal differential in the East. I know they've played 1 or 2 more games than most of these teams, but the Flyers are -5. They're kind of close. The Red Wings -6. They're kind of close to Red Wings in the same boat, though, with 1 win. The Flyers in the same boat with 1 win. The Sabres are just a mess right now. They're doing what the Predators, the Avalanche, the Oilers are doing. Just not only not winning, but getting blown out pretty often. So yeah, they've had a rough go. And I know that series in Prague, tough team, different environment. You just got beat by a better hockey team twice. That's fine. But then you just come back to the States, you come back home, and there's just no life. So I don't know. We might be looking at a basement dweller in Buffalo, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, dude, like I get it. They score 17 goals, but like look at like you've allowed 24 goals, okay? The only other teams in the NHL to allow more than 20, you have the Florida Panthers 21, okay? They still found a way to get 3 wins, right? You have the Pittsburgh Penguins 21 goals. They have their own goaltending debacle there. That's just insane. The rookies starting tonight. That's crazy. Yeah. You talked about that the other day. But you know, the Florida Panthers, Stanley Cup champions. If anyone can play with fire, it's probably them. Pittsburgh 21. And then Colorado 25. Right? 25. Now Colorado, I am genuinely worried about them, but at least Colorado has 2 of the best players in the world. Okay. And then you have the Oilers with 20. And again, at least you have 2 of the best players in the world. Right. So I'm not letting those teams off the hook. I'm just saying, Buffalo, you're not those guys. Like, you're not the Oilers, the Avalanche, the Panthers. Like, you cannot afford to give up these goals. You can't. And I just don't. Man, it's frustrating to watch. And I don't really care, but just as a hockey fan, I want to see these markets do well. Like Buffalo, I'm pretty sure, and somebody can please fact check me if you're watching or Andre on the fly. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that Ottawa, Buffalo, and Detroit have the 3 longest playoff droughts in the NHL. I'm pretty sure. Or they're up there. They're up there for sure.
Buffalo for sure.
Yeah, Buffalo.
I don't think Ottawa's up there. Because Ottawa, I feel like 17. Has everyone made it since 17?
Buffalo is 13 years. You're right. Ottawa made it in 17. And the Red Wings are 8 years.
Though. So you're right, though. That's the 3rd longest. Ducks made it in 18. Sharks in 19. Everyone else 20 because, you know, they had the expanded
right
in 2020. So
yeah, the play-in series or whatever. Yeah. So you have Buffalo, Detroit, and Ottawa, the 3 longest playoff droughts in the league. And I don't know, man. Like, and poor Buffalo, dude. Like, it's just, I don't know. I just feel bad for the city. I feel bad for the fans. I'm going to be driving to you guys in a little bit to catch the Leafs play at some point this year. So don't throw chicken wings at me or whatever you got going on down there. But I'm just like, I don't know, man. It's frustrating. And once again, like, no disrespect to Columbus, like we see this all the time. Teams that are written off and don't have much to play for and blah, blah, blah. They just give it every night. They don't care. I mean, they went up 5-0 against the Leafs last year. Leafs came back, tied at 5-5. And then Columbus ended up winning it 6-5 in overtime. I'm just saying, dude, like, if you want to be a playoff team, you've started the season 1-4-1 in arguably the hardest division in the NHL. Like, you've already put yourself in a position that's going to be really hard to come out from. And that's just the reality. But anyway, I've already set the record for the longest Buffalo talk on this show in Pucks Across Borders history. So let's move on, man. We got 3 games to get to tonight. The first of which is the Carolina Hurricanes at -170 against the aforementioned Pittsburgh Penguins at +138. -1.5 for the Hurricanes, +146, +1.5 for the Penguins, -176. The over is 6.5 at -105, and the under is -115. Andre, what do you got? Carolina, Pittsburgh. I'm actually really curious to see what you got here because I got some thoughts on this game.
Yeah, so the question is how much is Pittsburgh going to score, right? the baseline, they're giving up 3 goals per game. You look at this Carolina team, power play hasn't gotten started yet. They're 0 for 5 on the season. I know they've only played 2 games, but they're probably going to try to, or not probably going to try, they're going to get that out the way, you'd assume, especially against Pittsburgh PK that's been all right so far, nothing crazy. My problem with Carolina in this game, and I know I said Pittsburgh hasn't been beating these playoff teams because they've been allowing too many goals and not scoring on them. That's basically how hockey works. I don't know why I phrased it like that. But I think the Carolina's issue in this game is going to be their penalty killing, because they've allowed 3 power play goals in 9 tries. In their most recent game. And I don't see a reason why Pittsburgh can't cash in here tonight, especially at home. And if Carolina is going to let Pittsburgh keep scoring, keep them in the game, I don't see a reason Pittsburgh can't take it to OT and win like they did the other night against Buffalo. So Carolina's the better team, but I'm going to, until I see more from them, particularly on special teams, I'm going to roll with Pittsburgh here. They've played a little bit more. I think they just have more cohesion at this point, and they're going to score enough to overcome their goaltending problems. But more than anything, I like the over 6.5, and it's minus 102 on DK right now, so it's pretty good odds.
Yeah, it's funny, man. I thought that I was going to be all by myself on this one, and I'm right there with you. I think Pittsburgh's going to win tonight too, and I know this has burned me this week. Okay, the theme of this show is that Mark, gets a little cocky from time to time. It's burned me a few times talking about I don't understand these odds and blah blah blah. But listen, straight up, Carolina's played 2 games. They've lost a lot of pieces. They haven't looked overly great in either of those games. They lost their opener pretty handedly, 4-1, if I remember correctly. And Pittsburgh's biggest problem right now, and you talked about this yesterday, and I'm not, you're 100% right. The defense has been not great. They don't have the best defenders out there. And their goaltending has been a complete catastrophe. Like Jari, I was listening to The Athletic yesterday, did a podcast talking about Crosby and Malkin, then also talking about the Penguins and kind of where they are. And they had, I can't remember the guy's name. I would shout him out if I remembered. He's been with the Penguins for like 20 years. He's a beat reporter there, works for The Athletic now. And he was talking about how Jari isn't even playable anymore. Like the only reason why he's being played right now, and the only reason why he's been starting games, is because oh man, I'm gonna butcher his name. The backup, you help me out, dude.
Nedeljkovic. I got
you. Thank you. He's hurt right now, and he's in the minors on a rehab stint, I believe, on a loan down there on a rehab stint. So the only reason that Jari is even playing is because the backup that is probably going to start more games than not right now isn't healthy. That's a big problem. Granted, are we that confident in the Carolina goaltending situation too, by the way? I'm not really that confident in it. But going back to Pittsburgh, their offense has been terrific so far. They have scored exactly 4 goals per game on average. Our guy Malkin, let's see this. Where is it exactly? 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points. How many times last year did I talk about this guy just looking slow, looking like he doesn't have it? He started out feeling like he's in his 20s again. What I love about this as well is Crosby's only scored 1 goal. So they're averaging 4 goals a game across 5 games, and Crosby's only scored once. And I think that's huge for this team. So to me, Carolina hasn't really played that much. Pittsburgh, they've looked good, man. They just can't buy a save to save their lives. And what was the Blomqvist is playing tonight? The rookie, 2-1 so far this year, 286 goals against, 913 save percentage. I mean, Freddie Anderson looked okay in his loss, but I like this Pittsburgh team too, man. I'll probably stay away from the total. I agree with you on the over. It makes sense to me, but I'll just take that plus 140 now. People pouring in that Carolina money. I don't know, but I'll take Pittsburgh. And Crosby's got to score more than one goal at some point, right? He's plus 180 to score one tonight. All right, moving on. San Jose and the Winnipeg Jets. Plus 320 are the Sharks on the road. Minus 420 are the Jets at home. Plus 1.5 for the Sharks is plus 122. Minus 1.5 for the Jets is minus 146. Over 5.5 minus 122. Under is plus 100. Andre, what do you got? Sharks, Jets.
Yeah, you're gonna have to hear me out on this one. It's not because it's Friday. It's not because you're just trying to let loose for the weekend. San Jose, first game 4-5 OC loss. Next game,
okay,
2-0 loss. All the scoring was in the third period, I believe. Ducks scored one and then an empty netter in the last 90 seconds. So another tight game. 2-3 shootout loss in Dallas. Pretty good performance considering what Dallas did last year, what they've been doing so far this year. 2-4 loss in Chicago. These Sharks are not getting blown out. They're competing. I know Winnipeg's undefeated. They're 3-0-0, but their last two games, 2-1 OT win against the Hawks, 2-1 OT win against the Wild, both at home. They're not really blowing anybody out. And last year, these teams met 3 times. 2-1 Sharks win, 2-1 Jets win, 1-0 Jets win. I'm not settling for Sharks plus 1.5 at plus 120. I'm taking Sharks plus 3-1. They're overdue for a win. I said they weren't going to start 0-10 this year, whatever it was they opened with last year, and I'm sticking to it. They're getting that win tonight. The Jets aren't going to go undefeated forever. They have to lose at some point. They're keeping these games too close right now. The Sharks are hanging in these games all the time. I think this one goes to OT. The Sharks squeak it out, get their first 2 points, or the first 2-pointer of the season. So San Jose plus 320, low scoring game. Give me that under 5.5 at plus money as well. I'm liking a 2-1 Sharks OT win.
I love it. Look at you. I completely disagree. I think the Sharks are going to get destroyed tonight. I'll tell you something, okay? Now, not you. That wasn't fair. This wasn't you.
No,
yeah, sorry about that. The Jets have been getting, and this is kind of the way it is with the Jets all the time. Half of the fan base / the media world, half of them think they're going to win the cup. Half of them think they're going to finish with like a lottery pick. It's just kind of the way it is with the Jets. A lot of people down on the Jets, losing Monahan, losing different pieces. I still really like this team, and I still really think if you have the best goaltender in the world, no disrespect, Shesterkin, in my opinion, you are fine. Like, you're fine. Like, that's not a crazy deep, hockey, terminology, but you got Hellebuck back there. You still have a good defensive core. You have a good enough top 6 to get the job done every night. I think this Winnipeg team honestly has a chip on their shoulder, being disrespected all summer, all training camp, open the season with a 6-0 beatdown on the defending Western Conference champions. And I just think Winnipeg is going to come out with a chip on their shoulder all season long. The truth of the matter is, I don't like any bets in this game. I don't like the minus 420, clearly. The minus 1.5, don't like. I'm not gonna get the minus 2.5, nothing crazy like that. I don't even like their overs. Like I can see this being a 3-1 game. I kind of like the under, plus 100. I don't see the Sharks scoring a ton, maybe one, maybe 2 goals. I think it's going to be a pretty low scoring game. I can see your point though, for sure, the Sharks being competitive. I don't think that the Jets are going to come out here and win 6-1. But I do think the Jets will win this game. One prop, and I just got to pull up these stats here real quickly. The one prop that I really, really like, Mark Scheifele starting the season on fire. 4 goals to start the year. For him to score is plus 135. And then where is it? Here we go. Sorry. And then Josh Morrissey to get a power play point. Josh Morrissey is the new Quinn Hughes, bro. Remember Quinn Hughes, all that money we made last year, and then just lost it all gambling again on Quinn Hughes, plus 1 power play point. Josh Morrissey, plus 210 for a power play point. I love that bet. The Jets on the power play, 42.9% over 3 games, or how many have they played?
Jets have played 3.
Yeah. 42.9%. Now, not a ton of chances, but their power plays look good when it's been out there. And I like Josh Morrissey to get a power play point, and I like Mark Scheifele to score a goal. All right, moving on. The Anaheim Ducks, Colorado Avalanche. Anaheim is plus 225 on the road. Colorado minus 280 at home. The over is 6.5 at minus 130. Under plus 108. Plus 1.5 for the Ducks is minus 110. Minus 1.5 for the Avalanche is minus 110. I don't want to say what am I missing, but one of these teams has been better than the other team, and the one team that's been better is not the Avalanche. So what do you got, bro?
This is a challenge. This is a challenge to have. This is saying, hey, this is who you're supposed to be. To prove it tonight, because I feel like if they lose this game, that's when we're going to start seeing a little bit disrespect from Vegas.
Oh my goodness!
But they're not going to lose this game. They get their first one tonight. I'm holding firm. High scoring game, you got to take the over in Avs games at this point. They're going to hit 7. When do you think the first Avs game with an over under of 7 is going to be?
Soon.
I think soon. I'm eyeing before the end of the month. I think they play the Senators before the end of the month. I think they play Utah before the end of the month. So I was thinking one of those might be a 7. But yeah, you got to take the over in Avs games until they prove they can stop a puck, and until they don't have 2 generational offensive talents, not to mention, Rantanen and Landeskog and all that scoring talent. So over for sure. I'm taking the Avs minus 1.5. I know they've sucked so far. This Ducks team is not good. They need a win. They're at home again. They have a 3-game road trip after this. If you're going to strike, it's now. You have to leave Denver with 2 points. I think they do it in a loud way. I'm going to take them 7-2 is my prediction for this game. Avs win.
Oh. What's the odds for a 7-2 score? I'm sure you can find it there.
Yeah, I can. Give me 2 Avs. They don't have 7 as an option. 6-2 is plus 2,000. 6-1 is plus 2,200. They don't have 7-2.
I like the 6-1. I like the 6-1. I like that over too. a lot. And yeah, dude, Colorado, they have to win tonight, right? I haven't seen enough from the goaltending to trust the -1.5 or anything like that. I'll probably take the over 6.5 at -132 is probably my favorite play if we're talking the game itself. Anaheim's been scoring, man. Like they've been scoring. They put up 5 goals the other night. They haven't been awful. I think that they are awful, but they haven't been really yet. And Colorado, listen, man, Makar, was it the game against Boston? What game was it? There was a game recently they lost where Makar straight up said, we win that game if I'm not playing. Like, that's crazy from one of the best defensemen in the NHL, especially offensively, right? So to me, I'm just interested to see how that defense is and the goaltending. I don't know who's playing tonight. I don't know if you've seen. I thought I saw Georgiev. I'll just double check here. Daily Faceoff does have Georgiev confirmed to play tonight. So I like that over. I'm a little bit scared of picking a side betting wise, but I like the over, and we'll see what happens.
Colorado has not made it easy to support them. I picked them to finish first in the West, and it's been a rough go.
I'm telling you, man, I watched that game against Boston the other night, and they didn't look great. They didn't. Like, there were some offensive bursts here and there. They, brought it back from 4-1 to 4-3. But they don't look great, and they look lost. And listen, Taves is a very good defenseman, very, very good, elite defenseman, and they're missing him for sure. But you can't just be missing him and start your season 0-4. I'm sorry. It just doesn't work that way. Like, you have to figure it out. You have to. And so it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward. All right, wrapping up the show with our best bets brought to you by First Round Collectibles. Use promo code SportsAddict for 10% off whatever sports card you want in the entire First Round Collectibles store. That's the number one, STRoundCollectibles.com, FirstRoundCollectibles.com. Use promo code SportsAddict for 10% off your order. First Round Collectibles, sports cards for sports fans. Andre, what do you got, bro? Best bet on this Friday night.
For the sake of making this segment peaceful and not stepping on toes, I'm going to go over 6.5 goals in Hurricanes versus Penguins.
Okay. I don't completely understand that. I don't know. I missed it. It's going over my head. Oh, you want me to get Pittsburgh?
Oh, no. I did not want to lock you into a Sharks bet that I know you don't want to take.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for that. I really do appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. I'm actually going to go to that game, though, and I'm not going to pick a side. I said my piece on that earlier. But I really like Mark Scheifele to score tonight. I really do. And I'm going to lock it in as my best bet. 135 plus 135 for Mark Scheifele to score. I literally talked about this 3 minutes ago. So if you need a reminder on why I believe what I believe, rewind and watch it. But I do believe Mark Scheifele will score tonight. So give me Mark Scheifele plus 135. As far as a family play goes, man, slim pickings out here. Over Anaheim, Colorado, Pittsburgh. Are we going to go all the way in on Pittsburgh? What are you feeling?
I feel like over in Colorado is, you leave that one open because everyone's going to agree to that, right? It's the lock of the year.
So.
It's the lock.
Yes, sir.
It's
all right.
What is it, 4-4 so far this season? Over in the Avs game. That's penciled in.
Let's do it.
All right. First up, first game, we have over 6.5 and -102. Second game, we have Mark Scheifele, anytime goal scorer at +140. Third game, we have over 6.5 goals at -130 in Denver. That 3-pick parlay is plus 740 on DraftKings.
Absolutely love it. You've been getting better odds, I gotta say, on these parlays with DraftKings the last couple of days. The first few games or the first few weeks, first few days, you know what I'm talking about. It was FanDuel, but DraftKings is having some better odds lately. For me, it's plus 710. So lock it in. You heard it here first. Let's have a good night, man. We're getting a lot of 2 out of 3s, bro. We're getting a lot of 2 out of 3s. We got to lock it down one of these nights. I believe in it.
Yesterday was brutal, too, because the Panthers were the loss, and that was an OT loss. So OT loss at home. So that was a tough way to bow out. But we're back tonight. Come on. We have the easiest play of the month, the over in Denver.
Yeah. Yo, speaking of Vancouver, sorry, the music's playing. We're wrapping up. We're on our way out. But I was just thinking this. Did you know that since Elias Pettersson signed his contract in March, he has scored 1 5-on-5 goal?
This guy's turned it. That's awful.
That is crazy. Have a great weekend. FirstRoundCollectibles.com, ColeApexSports.com. We'll see you next week.